If I were to ask you what your favorite position is and we were in a crowd of people and you said missionary, chances are somebody would say, oh my God, that is so boring, or that's so vanilla. And hey, you might be the person who speaks up and says that. But let's just stop lying to ourselves and tell the truth, because missionary finds its way into the routine almost every single time in some way or some variation. But if you are somebody who believes missionary to be a vanilla or boring, then in this video, I am going to change your mind. I'm gonna give you a few different variations to spice up that missionary and make you get that good. Not to mention reasons why we love it. But before we spice up this classic position, I wanna take a second to tell you guys about my Moody merch. This is a way that you can support my content because I don't get monetized like the other creators out there because of what I talk about. So I launched my After Sex Moody hoodie, which is where you guys can go to support me and my content creation so that I can keep providing you guys these juicy, drippy topics. Not to mention, I just put them on sale for the very first time. So if you haven't grabbed a Moody hoodie yet, make sure you do so by clicking the link down below and grab that sale before it's gone. Also, when you purchase a Moody hoodie, you will be entered into a draw to win a one-on-one coaching session with myself, as well as 1 free month entry into my Patreon account, giving you exclusive content that I can't really post on these other platforms. All right, babies, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get started on how to spice that missionary up. When we think about missionary, usually we think about starting points, like the very first time that you had sex most likely was in missionary. And as time went on, it's kind of the most reliable to come back to. And like I stated, missionary kind of has this bad rep for being boring or basic. But to be honest, it's probably one of my favorites. And it's something we always come back to for a reason, because sex positions don't need to be complex to be good. This position is really good for increasing that intimacy, building that connection, and really focusing on the seduction and the romance. So let's run through the basics of missionary. But first, my mouth is really dry. Okay. Let's get at it. Typically, the receiving partner lays flat on their back with their legs spread apart comfortably, and the penetrating partner lies on top of them, so they're exactly face to face. In this position in particular, the thrusting partner usually controls the pace, the speed, and the way things are moving. But that doesn't mean that the receiver can't be involved. They can gyrate their hips to meet their partner's rhythm, or they can grind into their partner to find those better pleasure spots, or even enhance the angle for clitoral stimulation. Now, typically, the receiver actually doesn't have a lot of room to play around with here, and they're normally fixed in the position. Now, with that being said, their hands are free. So you can be feeling up on yourself, or you can be stroking your partner's torso, grabbing onto those biceps, or guiding their hips into a motion that you prefer. Not to mention, this is a really great position to give them a hug, embrace them, kiss them, talk to them. There's just so much room for enhancing our intimacy, and I think that's why it ends up in the bedroom almost every single time. Now, some of the reasons why we love missionary so much is because of the intimacy. There's a lot of kissing, caressing, there's eye contact, you get skin to skin contact and a full frontal view. But not to mention, there's plenty of room to stimulate other body parts such as our nipples or our clitoris. And also relatively easy to squeeze in or sneak in a little bit of a vibrator. This is also a really great position where the thrusting partner can be the one that is really in control, and it can be very empowering but super romantic and super intimate. But really, the reason why a lot of us love it is because it is so versatile in such simple ways. So what are some different variations that we can try out when we're a missionary? The first variation I want to touch on is the legs on the shoulder. So obviously this is being done by the receiving partner. So the receiving partner places their legs on the penetrating partner's shoulders. Now, if you can't find that length in your hamstrings to get that full stretch out of the legs, then you can also modify it a little bit by walking your feet down and placing them on their chest so your knees are in a bent position. Or you can move your legs down onto your partner's arms too and use them as holding straps. This is a really great variation for deeper penetration. The second one that I want to hit is one leg up and one leg down. So lowering one leg allows for that deeper penetration and a switch of the angle. But the reason why I love this position is that you can add in different types of toys to give clitoral stimulation. The third one that we're going to hit is called the lover lover's X. And let me tell you, this lover is not gonna be an X because this variation hits good. The legs are up and they are crossed at the ankles. Now you can either keep them in front of your partner's face, which I don't know why you would, but you might, or you can drape them to one side of the shoulder. This is a great position for you to contract your whole pelvic floor, giving it a more tight sensation. Also, for my people out there that like to squeeze their legs really, really, really tight when they're about to climax to enhance that pleasure or to enhance those sensations, you can do so in this position. The fourth variation is called the flying V. And yeah, it looks exactly how it sounds. So the receiving partner lets their legs fall out completely to the side, creating that V shape. Now the thrusting partner can either grab onto their ankles or grab onto their feet, or even on the back of the receiver's thighs, providing some resistance. With the last variation being called the wraparound. This is a really awesome position for the receiver if you like having a tight grip on your partner. So all you're gonna do is spread those legs open like the V shape and then take them and fold them in and wrap them around their waist. Now, despite what you're thinking about this being a deep penetration position, this is actually a really good position for you to be able to control the depth, because with that squeezing motion of the thighs, you're not allowing them to enter as deeply. And lastly, I wanted to add in a little bit of other tips and tricks. The first one being use a pillow. Place the pillow directly under the receiving partner's lower back. This will raise their hips and provide them with less strain that's happening on their lower back, as well as changing the depth and the angle of the stroke. Because when we raise the pelvis up a little bit, it's actually giving you, depending on the curvature that you're receiving, better access to the G zone. The next one is that penetration actually doesn't need to happen. This is a really great position for the big old T's. Obviously, you want things lubed up and nice and wet because you're gonna be humping and grinding and tribing if you're vulva to vulva. But who would I be without adding a little bit of a kink section? So if you want to spice it up just a little bit more, you can add some light bondage in. You can consider bed restraints, rope play, handcuffs, so they can surrender completely to their pleasure. But make sure you play responsibly, meaning consent, communication, and a safe word. All right, so those are all the variations and my little tips and tricks to help you spice up that missionary position tonight or the next time you play. The one thing I do want to say about different positions is that you can really morph your body into whichever way might feel good for you, and there might not be a name for that position. However, if it feels good, rock with it, honey. Give it a name if you really feel like it's necessary. Just because something works for you every single time does not mean that you have to do it every single time. There's nothing wrong with exploring and being open to other possibilities. Hell, I mean, you never know what you might actually discover about yourself. Just play without expectation. All right, B, don't forget to grab some Moody merch. They are all unisex hoodies ranging from extra small to double extra large. So there is something for everybody. And I will see you babas on Monday or Thursday. I'm not too sure yet, but I will see you next week.